is downtown Apache Junction, Norway, with a big hand. You're making a flying trip. You're loud and proud.
Alright, so today we got a realistic TRC-490 here. And this was an eBay find, $86. I could not pass that up. $86, yeah. And overall looks pretty good as far as the faceplate. It's a little dirty, but it's intact. The meter here was out, the light. The transmit light worked, but which is a red incandescent, but the just the standard, hey, I'm on and I'm receiving white incandescent was out, so just replaced the incandescent bulb there. You can see the new red wires here spliced into the white wires, so that was no big deal. Also, of course, most of these old radios have let me see if I get my light. Yeah, there we go. So the modulation limiting circuit in this, we'll do that, I guess. We'll go with that. See if I can find, there we go. So this transistor here, TR32, was removed, just completely cut out. And the book calls for a 2SC711 to be in that place, but a 2SC945 is virtually expect to be the same transistor. So I put a 2SC945 in there. And then also, let's see, what was it? Here we go. R9 was the value of this R9 was changed. They had 100K in there. I don't know why. That's also part of the modulation circuit. I changed that back to the stock value of 10K and restored the modulation limiter circuit, which was, just given completely flat top waveform when it was modulating. And also, when I first, so they got a channel mod on this radio. See all these funky wires going everywhere tied in to the PLL. They had moved this 11 megahertz crystal to the bottom of the board. Not really sure. So when I first got the radio, it had no transmit or receive at all. It was just dead. But this crystal, one of the legs, solder joints had popped loose, and that was why that was. So we just resoldered the crystal there and restored transmit and receive. This radio, I have not aligned this radio yet at all. So yeah, but we'll take a quick look at the modulation on AM. So let's put her back to AM. Go to channel 19. And we'll look up here. We'll first just do a dead key. She's dead keying about 3.5 watts right now. We'll go ahead and put some modulation into it. So we got a clean waveform now, which is good. So that's been restored. And running about 88% modulation. Boonton modulation meter gives us 88 here, and I think the HP was giving me 90. We'll take a quick look at her on the HP. Okay, so we'll key up, see what 91, 92 is what the HP 8920 is telling us. Okay, so what else do we have? So that was, fixing the broken solder joint in the crystal, restoring the modulation circuit, fixing this light up front. That's what we've done so far. And I don't know if I'm going to keep the channel mod done to this or not. I mean, it seems to be stable. Let's go back to channel 1 here. So if I'm in channel 1 AM, we should be 2696 or 9650. Oh, let me pump this into here. Turn off our modulation. Yeah, so 269648. So this radio has not been aligned yet. I have not gotten that far. And then on 40 should be 27405, and she's close. But then to say if I hit the PA switch here, and we'll look at see what she does. See, now she's at 28045 on 40, and on 1 she is 27605. So yeah, looks like maybe just I'm not sure what channel mod, what they were trying to accomplish. All three of these buttons actually do something different. Let me go back to channel 1, put the noise blanker A&L switch in, and see what that's doing. So that's 26965, so it's not, that switch doesn't do anything. What about the channel 9 switch? No. Okay, so it might just be the PA switch. That's where our mod's at. Let me try channel 40 again real quick. So 27405, noise blanker in. Oh, see, look at that. 27085. Noise blanker out. 27405. Channel 9 switch in. Nothing. So I guess it depends on the switch combination. So yeah, I don't know what. I might just pull all that out. We'll see. But anyway, fairly clean on the inside. No corrosion on the PCB on the bottom side. We'll go ahead and recap the radio too. It needs it for sure. Yeah, so I'm fine with the modulation circuit being stock, 90% or so. Modulation is just fine. I also adjusted the ALC for sideband, got her sitting at about 11 watts peak. It was a little bit overdriven, and we'll work on linearity when we go to align it after a recap. This board has the unit and transformer installed right here. And if this transformer wasn't there, there's a place for a variable pot for AMC to be installed. Either a 1K, I think, or a 500 ohm pot to go there. But if you have this transformer in the radio, excuse me, on the PCB, then you're a little bit more limited as far as how you can manipulate the modulation circuit. And I guess this person just decided to cut out the TR-32, and then I'm not really sure why they changed the value of R9, but they did. But yeah, so far it's working better than what it was when I got it, which was not really at all except turn on. Like I said, that 11 megahertz crystal had solder joint had broken loose, and I'll probably move that 11 megahertz crystal back up on top as well. And yeah, so we'll just keep on pressing on. What I'll probably do as well, I'm gonna have to check to make sure that crystal is actually the stock value. I'm not sure what's supposed to be in that position. I need to look at that. We'll see. And if I decide I want to restore the switches up here for noise blanker A&L and PA to stock and get rid of the channel mod, then I'll have to look at that crystal and see if that's actually what's supposed to be in their stock. I haven't actually looked at it, read the numbers off of it to see what frequency it is. Anyway, so we'll press on. We'll get it all recapped and aligned, and I guess I'll just deal with the channel mod stuff at the end and see where I want to go with that. So we'll be back. All right, so we're back with the realistic TRC-490, and I think I've taken it about as far as I'm going to take it. She's functioning pretty good now. She's very stable on frequency. I'm going to leave the channel mod in place. They did end up changing crystals there underneath to do the channel mod, and I don't have a stock crystal here on hand, so I'm just going to leave it alone. Like I said, it's very stable on the CB band, so there's no point in doing anything about it right now. I worked on a unit in Washington a few months ago that had a Expo kit installed, and it was just a horrible hack job into the PLL, and it was so unbelievably unstable on frequency everywhere that I ended up just pulling it all out and returning it to stock. And this one, though, very, very stable, and it also has a open clarifier, which I didn't realize in the last video segment as I was going through it. And again, very, very stable. So I'm just going to leave it alone. So we've recapped the entire radio, and that's all done. So there's our old cat pile. Went through the transceiver alignment. Nothing really stood out there. Bias, final and driver biases were set too high, so they're back to spec. I think it's 35 and 45 milliamps if I remember right. And yeah, so we'll just do a quick walkthrough on her and see what she's doing. Oh, one thing to note, after doing the recap, I went back through and looked at AM modulation, and it was just completely horribly flat topped again and just splattering. And I was like, what in the world did I do? And of course, you know, I just got through being all over this PCB doing the the cap replacement. I'm sorry, electrolytic cap replacement. And I knew that it had to have been something I did, and it took me about an hour to figure out where I had done a solder bridge, which was back here in the next to the audio chip. And once I found that with a magnifying glass and rectified that, she was back to being clean again. So yeah, it happens. Also, I took out R104 right here at the base of TRC or TR33, which is the first of 3 AMC transistors in the circuit, and was just playing around with different value pots here tied to ground to see if I could get any more modulation out of it, because actually after the recap I went from 90% modulation beforehand to about 70 after. And I ended up just sticking the 10K pot in there. The R104's value is like 8.2K, so I didn't really change it much, and it gave me like another 4% on modulation, so I'm running about 74% now. But it sounds really good, so I'm just gonna leave it alone. So yeah, so I actually went up to a 2 meg pot all the way up. Just tried different values, but sideband linearity starts to falter with the higher value I placed on that pot to ground. So I just stuck back with a 10K pot, which is very close to that original resistor value. And I'm sure there's other ways that I could sit there and experiment to try to get more modulation out of it, but it's not necessary. 74% is fine. But we'll look at so we're on channel 19 and we're on lower sideband right now. We'll just look at our sensitivity on the sine adder there. So let's turn on. So we're at 1 microvolt minus 107 dB right now on sideband. We're pushing over 20 dB of syn add. So let's go to minus 120. So we're still at 14 dB of syn add at minus 120, and we'll go to minus 125. I think she gets about 10 there. So she's floating 10, 11 dB of syn add at minus 125. So she's got really good sideband ears. We'll listen to her on, or we'll look at her on AM. Let's go back to, so there's our AM right there. So we're at minus 107 dB, and we're looking at what is that? About 15 dB of syn add at 1 microvolt. So that's really good. Let's go down to maybe 115 dB down. Ooh, that dropped off precipitously. Look at that. 10 dB of syn add at minus 115. That's not bad. Yeah, that's not bad at all for AM. Okay, so let's turn that down. Let's look at, how about look at sideband linearity. So let's go back to, let's get her into the RF sampler here. And then we'll look at, we've got a 2-tone test generating. How if I put some modulation on? There we go. So there's our sideband linearity. She looks nice. And we can look at AM again real quick. Let's see, 1 kilohertz. Okay, so let's look at our AM presentation. Yeah, there's our AM. Okay, so she's clean. We can look at her in the Let's take a look at her over here in the 8920 on the spectrum analyzer. And we'll just do a dead key first, and we are at 3 kilohertz wide here. I'm sorry, 30 kilohertz, that's 3 channels wide. So there's our dead key. And we'll add modulation. Yes, she's very clean. Okay. And we'll just listen to her, I guess, now. See what she sounds like. Let's get this mic into here. Alright, so we got a mic into her. We're on AM. Let's see if I got this set up right. Alright, so we're going to listen to her on the 2547 up there. Check, check, check. 1, 2, low, 1, 2. Alright, so let's go to lower. And we do have an open clarifier, so we'll see where she's sitting at now. Check, check, check. Oh, she's way off. Hello, check, check, check. 1, 2, check, 1, 2. So there's our lower and upper. Check, check, check. Hello, 1, 2, check, 1, 2. Yeah, she sounds all right. Like I said, she's got an open clarifier. Yeah, I guess that's really about it. So like I said, we're going to leave the channel kit in there. I think I mentioned that. They changed crystals. Maybe I didn't mention that. They changed crystal values to do the channel mod, and I don't have a stock crystal laying around, so it's going to stay there. So I just went ahead and just tied up the wiring underneath there to clean it up a little bit. As far as the transceiver alignment, nothing really out of the ordinary going through it. It did pretty decent. I got the clarifier as close to dead center as I can after doing the transceiver alignment. And yeah, so I think for 89 bucks, it was a pretty good deal. Just needed a little bit of work, and she's a good little base station. So I guess that's about it. So 73s everybody, and we'll see you next time.